All right, welcome back to another episode of the Tim and Tim Show every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Glad to have you guys back. And this week we're talking about what I believe to be a very relevant situation because it's currently going on right now. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody really talking about how the government shutdown is affecting real estate as a whole, but more specifically commercial real estate and how it applies to Tim and myself. So I'm excited to kind of talk about this because it's a little bit different of a show that we would normally do because we're generally talking about things that we're experiencing, which we are experiencing this, but we're also kind of implementing solutions to problems that we've learned and how we're going to change things going forward. And there's nothing really that we can change about this situation because we didn't have anything to do with it. So we're talking about the government shutdown and how we're starting to feel some of the impacts. I don't have any advice for you on how to pivot and do anything differently. I'm just kind of talking about how it's making our lives difficult right now. So without further ado, Tim Best, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad. How about you?
Hey, it's bright out. It's not raining. It's still pretty warm. I'm pretty excited about that. So,
oh man, come on. We need the rain, man. Come on.
Actually, rained like overnight for some reason. I didn't even know it was going to rain, but everything was all wet this morning, and it wasn't my sprinklers.
My grass wants it.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're talking about the immediate and direct impacts on commercial real estate. So some people use SBA loans in order to buy commercial real estate. I know you can use like an SBA loan for like self-storage facilities and things like that. With the government shutdown, the SBA administration, SBA stands for Small Business Administration. So SBA administration is a bit redundant. What's my other favorite? Sorry, side note, my brain just kind of defaulted was I love when people say, "Can you send me your EIN number?" I'm like, oh. Of course.
Did you take the SAT test?
Yeah. So if you are currently going through an SBA loan in order to buy like a self-storage property, or maybe you are a small business owner applying for an SBA loan to buy, like a commercial warehouse or where your business is going to be based out of, that they're not processing loans right now because the government shut down. It's pencils down and there's nobody at work. You all right?
Got a really strange noise going on outside my window. Sorry. Almost sounds like a dog being tortured. I hate to say
it. I had something funny to say about that, but in context, it won't be understood. So,
that's right.
So if you're going through the SBA process, you're feeling some pressure there. Some of the other things, if you are in the commercial real estate world, because permitting and zoning reports and environmental reviews, unless it's a private company, like a phase 1 report or something like that. If it's a private company, like you'll be fine. But permitting and inspections to pass permits, if you're doing any type of renovations that need permitting, inspections, and things like that, all of that is delayed right now. And so apparently through the grapevine, I've heard that there is some capacity at these government agencies where some people are still working, but I can't confirm nor deny that. But my understanding is that they're shut down entirely and that the building's dark until the government's turned back on. Have you heard anything different than that?
No, I did hear something yesterday, and Dennis, if you're on for some reason, like put it in the chat, man. Heard something yesterday about, I think it was Fannie or Freddie is asking employees to like take rolling time off or something. They're trying to figure out like what might be missed with a reduced staff. I haven't seen anything about that. And that's not necessarily directly related to the government shutdown. I think it has something to do with maybe like potential downsizing.
Yeah. And so that's exactly where I was going to go next was, kind of what's happening with rental subsidies, because this impacts you and I the most. If this is your first time joining, we do affordable housing, and a component of affordable housing are Section 8 voucher payments or housing choice vouchers, whatever your terminology you like to use there. HUD, we don't really do anything with HUD specifically, but most of the things we do are kind of with either a Lura a federal contract that's attached to the title, or a local municipality in their Section 8 voucher program.
Yeah.
But with the government shutdown, those programs are really seeing kind of delayed payments. Um, the contract renewals, people that are applying for Section 8 vouchers, those types of things are being delayed. So Daniel Reddick is saying if they would just shut down the IRS, that would be great.
Hey, IRS is being impacted by this.
Yeah, the IRS isn't being impacted, and one of the things that we're seeing now is we're going through a number of refinances, and these government shutdowns are impacting our ability to refinance these properties. One thing that's really kind of the worst part for us is with these rental subsidy programs. If their payments are delayed and we're showing delinquent rent on our rent roll, that negatively impacts our ability to refinance.
Right.
Coupled with them operating on almost no employees or zero employees at all is further delaying our ability to refinance and get out of these loans. So it's yet to be seen what the outcome is going to be of these government shutdowns, but I'm hopefully optimistic that the people that we work with will understand, the private banks and private lenders that we work with, that they will understand that it's not my fault. It's something that I can't control, that the government is shut down and I can't complete these refinances. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that piece, right? And then, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, when you do these agency loans, there's a tie into the IRS, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You were
So
talking about that to me yesterday.
yeah. So when they do these loans, there's a tie to the IRS especially for the people guaranteeing the loan. Like, for instance, me and Tim, those agencies will run a check on us. Well, when they submit that check, if the IRS is shut down or running with less staff, right, it's harder for them to get that information back. So we're starting to hear rumblings that, like, some of our agency loans may be slowed down a little bit due to that as well. Because it's all part of their underwriting process, right? So it slows down their underwriting process at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't
So
think it's going to come as a shock to anybody about, unless somebody's talking about it. But I mean, we're talking about it right now about why there's issues with these government shutdowns, and it's not just because the governors and mayors and the political folks, are not getting paid. Getting their payments deferred. It's all of the other programs and stuff that are intertwined with the vast majority of all real estate processes. I mean, you have government agencies that are involved at the lending level. Flood insurance and national insurance programs are done at the government level. It's those types of things are critical in order, or, obviously, to the rental subsidies that we talked about and affordable housing programs. Those are all things that we need in order to continue to operate our business. And it didn't really dawn on me until some of these things started to come to light of, like, well, hey, this is the problem. This is what's going on. And this is the impact that we're seeing. And I was like, this is exactly what we're going to talk about this week, so other people are aware about it.
yeah, for me, it all comes down, maybe this is where you were going. For me, guys, it all comes down to uncertainty, right? And what's the number one thing lenders don't like is uncertainty.
Yeah, when uncertainty rises, their spread rises.
Right. So and they'll slow down. They'll be more cautious, right? They'll slow down. They'll be more cautious. The spread will rise. Their not only will their spread rise, but their LTV will get constricted as well. So I think we're going to see, the longer this drags on, the more likelihood of liquidity constraints from the lenders, right? So I think that's, for me, probably one of the biggest things is I think all of us are kind of used to, like, the politicians playing their little games and pulling these little cards
Yeah.
out from time to time and, like, shutting the government down for 24 or 48 hours. But I mean, I think we're going into what, day 5, something like that, day 6.
So I don't know. I don't remember when it shut down
So
exactly.
yeah, so the longer this goes on, as we stretch into day 7, day 8, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think the lenders will start to go, this is abnormal. So
Hmm.
abnormal times or uncertain times, and I think they start to get really, really kind of risk adverse, if you will.
Hmm.
So those those 5% interest rates, those 5.5% interest rates that we were looking at, may become
Gone.
six, maybe become 6.5.
But you know what's interesting is when I was doing a little bit of research before this, I was looking into like how does it affect the market sentiment when there's
Mhm.
this government shutdown, and like where do people start investing their money? And surprisingly, it said that a lot of people will start investing their money into the treasuries,
Yeah,
right? And as a commercial real estate investor, if people are investing into the treasuries, demand goes up, and then the rate goes down.
yeah,
But the flip side of that is what we're talking about identically is that the banks then see the volatility go up and their spreads go up. So as the treasuries might be going down, like your 5 and 10 year treasury might be going down, your rate might be increasing because the spread is increasing faster than the decrease of the
right,
treasury, right?
right,
So you could hypothetically have a 25 basis point or 0.25% reduction in your treasury yield, but an increase of 50 basis points
in
or
your spread,
0.5% or half of a 1% increase in the spread
right.
of your lending. So therefore your rate is going to go up a 1/4% instead of down a 1/4%.
Yeah, and then, what's interesting though is I was doing some research last night, and I actually saw that like wealthy, we all kind of track the wealthy when it comes to real estate. The wealthy are actually moving out of the market and into, of all things, I was really surprised by this, into luxury real estate because of the
Really?
uncertainty. Yeah, because of the uncertainty in the market. They see a big buying opportunity in the real estate market, specifically the luxury real estate market. And
Mm,
so they're pulling funds out of the stock market, and they're basically going in and buying low leverage or all cash on some of these real estate assets right now. Um,
right, right. That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah. Also, one of the other, talking about treasuries and how that all of that's impacted, but if this government shutdown continues, that could delay the release in jobs reports and CPI reports, which everyone's paying attention to right now because of the Fed potentially cutting rates, right? And well, if the government shut down, then the Fed's not going to cut rates. It's like,
right.
oh my God, all of these things, 2025 has been seriously a mixed bag of events and actions and things that I've never experienced. I would venture to say most people have never experienced this whirlwind of actions all taking place at the same time and impacting commercial real estate all at the same time, because there's so many different fingers or facets of where the commercial real estate world expands into, and with this government shutdown and the Fed rate being reduced and it being an election coming up, and the Fed chair potentially being replaced and the new president that came in January, and it's like, what else can we pile on top of 2025 to give us increased volatility in our commercial real estate world to like underwrite correctly and predict where the market is going to go over the next 24 or 36 months.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think, and this is unheard of. Like what's happening with all of these impact factors all at the same time.
yeah. I got to be honest. Like, I know we do like the LITEC and and we have some HUD impact here, but I will say one thing I am grateful for is we don't have a ton of housing right now in locations that depend on federal jobs. Um,
That's
so
fair. Yeah.
yeah, so for folks that are around, not just in DC, but around federal places where you're dependent upon the federal jobs, just be watching this, guys, because that's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like think about that. You have I mean, I don't know where there's a big large base. I think in Alabama for some reason there's like the FBI, right? Or CIA, or one of their headquarters is down in Alabama. They shut
Huntsville,
what's it?
Huntsville,
Oh,
Huntsville, I
Yeah,
believe.
Huntsville. It's like, okay, think about the impact of the government shutdown. Say the government shuts down for 60 days, and all the little coffee shops and restaurants that are all privately owned companies all around the Fed buildings that have been shut down for 60 days, they don't have any customers now because this government building that houses 100,000 employees, that's 100% of their business. All of these little local shops around these Fed buildings could go under because the owners don't have enough money to pay their mortgage or their rent or their lease payments or payroll or all those types of things. Because the government was shut down, they're not getting business to stay open.
Yeah, yeah. And well, like you're talking about, you're kind of talking about like cascading effects, right?
Yes.
And So, along with that, as we talked about it just a little bit ago, we made mention of this is like how long this drags on, right? Like, so the longer it drags on, the bigger the backlog that builds up, right? The longer it takes
Yeah.
to dig out of it. So I don't know, man. At the end of the day, right now, I'm just like, could you guys just get in a freaking room and talk this shit out? I mean, because this is ridiculous. Let's just get going. Um,
Right. Yeah,
so
I mean, there's just so many factors and variables that are out of our control across the board. I mean, over the last 2 years, it was interest rates and insurance costs and property tax valuations and inflation causing payroll to go through the roof, and then utility usage rates changed, which resulted in increased costs. And now you have this government shutdown that's causing delay on getting payments in the door from
yeah,
rental housing. I mean, it's like everything that could go the wrong way has over the last like 18 to 24 months.
yeah, a lot of the things have. I mean, for sure. It's like it's kind of like Tim's talking about it. It's like you're moving along and you're solving for insurance, you're solving for taxes, you're solving for all these things, and it's like, hey, I got 2 years and I got this runway, and I've solved these things, I've mitigated them, I've figured out how to work around them. I'm ready to go for my refi, right, and put this thing on stabilized debt and just let it eat for a while. Which is, guys, that's a lot of our goals here.
Hmm.
And here you are. It's like, oh no, the government's going to shut down, and we're going
Well,
to get
wait,
delayed a little bit
surprise! We
longer.
got another event that another catastrophic event that you couldn't have budgeted for. It's like, oh my god, man!
And
Phew.
and what's interesting, speaking of some experiences Tim and I are going through right now, like what's yet to be seen for me is how my current lenders might handle this situation, right?
Mm,
Because we're in the middle of a couple of refis right now, and we have reached out to our current lenders and said, hey, we're trying to get this refi, but what should we expect from you? Should we get delayed during the process? And
mhm.
it's very much a we'll see.
Yeah, right.
We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, and it's of course they're going to bend us over the barrel if they have the opportunity to.
Yeah, and I'm just looking for, hey guys, we get it. We're all in this. We'll work with you. That's all I'm
Mhm.
looking for. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not even looking for a commitment on a specific answer. Just let's see how this goes. We'll work with you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
How you respond to that question of "we'll figure it out" or "we'll see" is completely two different mindsets entirely. Like the "we'll figure it out" is a more of a collaborative response that makes me feel better. Of
yeah,
hey, at least there's a bit of hope that they're not going to bend us over the barrel, and the "we'll see" means we're going to analyze what's the best for us and do what's best for us
yeah,
at that time.
yeah. And you gotta kind of hope that's where. Oh man, we're getting kind of off the rails here. But I mean, we there's been a lot of people talking about, like, is this whole market, not just the government shutdown, but is this whole market like an 0809 scenario? And one of the things people don't talk about a lot is in 0809, a lot of things that were done at the government level did put lenders in a position where they're like, every man for himself, right? Like, every man for himself. We got to get back what we can get back now.
Yeah,
And you just kind of hope that lenders don't go that way now. And quite frankly, not just lenders, but everybody, sellers, buyers, owners, you know, businesses, lenders, you name it, that we're all kind of like, we're in this together. Let's work together to figure a way forward. And not just you know what, screw you, I got to get mine. I
hmm,
got to make sure I get mine now. So I'm hoping we don't get there, because believe me, that was a real thing in like 2009 and 10 for sure. Um,
yeah. And I know I know enough about you to connect the dots on that story of where that's coming from. So it's interesting, and I hadn't considered that, but it's definitely not something that I want to find myself in find myself in because for a lot of reasons people can call their note due if they want, right, or play hardball with us if they want to. It's you hope that they don't.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, if I had one thing to say about that, it's like, just reach out to your lender, let them know that you're working, let them talk to them, at least be connected to them, be communicating with them. And then the other piece is, just keep an eye on this, right? I mean, reach out to, if you collect Section 8 vouchers, reach out to your local housing authority and just ask, like, hey guys,
Yeah.
are you feeling this? How are you feeling? Am
Mhm.
I going to be, delayed? Right. That
Something
kind of
else
thing.
to consider is if you own properties that are like in flood zones and things like that, and if you
Mm.
have government-backed flood insurance, um, it's escaping me right now. Do you remember the name of that flood program? Like, it's not FEMA, right?
I don't think so. I'm not
No?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, we're still in hurricane season. I mean, God forbid another hurricane comes through and, the government's still shut down and they can't deploy the National Guard and resources and things like that in order to assist. I mean, maybe that's something to consider of like, if there is a hurricane threat, maybe you just want to leave. The house can be replaced at the end of the day, but your lives can't. And it's
Yeah.
if there's a government shutdown and they're not going to be able to send anybody to you to help, um, to help rescue you, like maybe for me, I live in a coastal environment, right? I don't have FEMA flood insurance, or I don't have any government backed insurance programs or anything like that. But if I were living here and there were a Cat 5 hurricane off the coast, like there was not too long ago, I think I'd reconsider my decision process of I'm just going to stay and ride this out versus I'm probably going to go inland and just not risk it, right? So maybe that's something you consider as well.
Yeah. So, guys, at the end of the day, I mean, it all boils down, to just uncertainty, right?
Right.
Um, and so,
If only I had the power of a lender to be able to increase my spreads when there's uncertainty, I'd be okay.
yeah, if I could just be like, you know what, I don't know what the market's going to look like coming forward. So your rent this month is 1,200 instead of 1,000.
Yeah,
Um,
just to make sure that I'm covered so that I can pay my bills.
yeah. So, guys, just keep an eye on things. Just let's hope this thing kind of all reconciles itself here in the next few days. And
Yeah,
let's hope we're not looking at a 30-day shutdown.
yeah, I was watching a YouTube video. I think it was from like Graham Stephan or something like that, where he was doing an assessment or an analysis of like, well, what could happen if the government shuts down for a week or two, or 30 days, or 60 days, or whatever, right? And obviously, there's a lot of hypotheticals involved in there, but I think people are really paying attention to what could be impacted because I think it's gone on longer than what most people would have anticipated anything like this to ever go on for. Um, I think I can't. I should have looked this up. I wish I did, but I should have looked up like how long were like previous government shutdowns in the past, and what were the impacts of those government shutdowns over that period of time. I didn't do that research. Shame on me. I should have beforehand, but I didn't know that was going to come up. But yeah, I mean, just paying attention to what's going on at the government level and the Fed, and trying to have an understanding of where things are going. But the biggest thing to make sure that you are analyzing is if you're impacted by not receiving your rent vouchers and things like that, make sure you got cash on hand. Do a little bit of pre-thought instead of reactionary. Be a little proactive there to say, hey, like, what bills can we pause this week or this month in order to make sure that XYZ things happen. I mean, a lot of our properties, a large majority of the cash comes in from voucher programs, right? So we're having to do that analysis right now and see how much money we have in reserves in order to cover mortgage payments, for example, because
Yeah.
those don't get paused, but everything else does, right? So it's interesting and funny how that works. But yeah, just try to be a bit proactive and control what you can control until certainty comes back and we can make some more clear decisions on what's going to happen in the future. So
Yeah. So, all right.
that's all
Yeah.
I
Well,
got. We'll keep it short this week. I mean, normally we do 30 minutes, but I don't really have much more to talk about except for that. I feel like we covered it in depth. So appreciate everybody joining this week, and we will see you. Well, I will see you next week because Tim Vest is on the road. Oh, sorry, he's out of the office for the next period of time, so he won't be here next week. But I will be, and we'll talk about another fun topic next week. So, all right, see you next week. Peace.
see ya.